we want to talk about the fact that Barcelona are now said to be preparing a bid for Julián Alvarez. He is said to be the primary target for Hansi Flick this summer. This is obviously with Robert Lewandowski leaving the club, and we think this could be the big summer saga in the transfer window. So Julien Laurent joins us from his yacht today. We've also got Frank Leboeuf in his usual setting. But Jules, from your yacht, tell us a little bit more about this whole Julián Alvarez situation.
Yeah, welcome to my yacht, Kay. I wish we could have a big party here. But now, Julián Alvarez, it's a fascinating one because today we heard some rumors that Barcelona were preparing a bid for him that could go up to 100 million euros. So somebody would have to explain us how Barcelona right now could afford both Anthony Gordon and Julián Alvarez, but that's another issue. But on the other hand, sources at Atletico Madrid saying that he's not for sale and that there's been no offers, no discussion with any clubs or nothing like that whatsoever. Usually when a club like that says something like that, it means that they know that inevitably the players wants to leave and will leave. But you're right, I think we're in for a proper long Julián Alvarez saga this summer.
Obviously, because Atleti, Ale, are under no pressure to sell Julián Alvarez. He's under contract with them. They paid a lot of money themselves. Why would they sell him on for 100 million?
Well, they shouldn't. And they are in a position in which the player is under contract. And if indeed the player wants to leave, you have a conversation with him and say, listen, buddy, look, you're under contract. And whatever we're being offered is not competitive in the market right now. And so therefore, there isn't a whole lot that we can do. How about we work this out? But we all know that that's usually not how things go. If the player has made that decision in his mind that he's not happy, then he will continue to push either directly him doing it in conversations with the club or through his representation group that will go and talk and make the situation such that Atletico Madrid eventually says, all right, let's get him out there. What are we being offered? And let's make some sort of business out of this. I don't see why Atletico Madrid would get rid of Julián Alvarez because, quite frankly, if you look at their squad, he is their one elite player. Elite player. They have a bunch of good players, but he is their one elite player. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense for me from the perspective of Atletico Madrid. It also doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense for me from the perspective of Barcelona as to why you're making this deal, Anthony Gordon, and spending the money that you're doing, and then saying, well, but here's our bid for Julián Alvarez. Could you not have been better served saving your money and not spending on Anthony Gordon and really putting a package together if indeed Julián Alvarez was your priority? I just don't understand how these clubs are making this decision.
Yeah, yesterday Gemma made the analogy that it's like when you haven't had money for a little while and then some comes into your pocket and you go on a big spending spree, and that's what we saw with Anthony Gordon, to which Ale then followed up with saying, and sometimes maybe you don't make the best decision with those purchases.
Yeah.
Is that what we might be seeing here?
I feel so. And again, without revisiting the Anthony Gordon purchase or any aspect of it, you felt that Barcelona's primary need was that striker. With Lewandowski moving on, Julián Alvarez ticks all those boxes, and with Ali in that, I don't see why Atleti are motivated to let him go outside of the fact that Julián Alvarez comes and says, I want to go. And lessons learned a year on from Alexander Isak and Newcastle and how that all played out. Maybe it's early enough in the summer for both clubs to kind of figure things out, figure what comes next. But without Julián Alvarez saying that he wants to go, I don't see how this comes about at all. So I have a feeling, my suspicion is a lot of this work has been done well behind the scenes. That being said, Julián Alvarez at 100 million euros, given the player he continues to show himself to be and has done for some time, is damn good business.
These are the tricky situations, aren't they, Frank? Because if the player does want to go, obviously Atleti won't want to let him go, but if the player wants to go, then it does become a bit of a problem.
Well, it's a big problem, and Shaka was talking about Alexander Isak. That's what it is, and if Julián Alvarez wants to go to Barcelona, there is nothing that Atleti can do. They have to let him go because he's going to fight against them. He's not going to be ready. He's going to be after the World Cup. He will say, no, I'm going to go on strike, whatever it can be. He wants to play for Barcelona because he thinks with Barcelona he's going to win titles, where with Atleti it's going to be harder. And there is no discussion whatsoever. If a player wants to leave, Even if he has a contract, there is nothing much you can do. But letting him go and getting the most money you can in the transfer. But that's it. That's the main question. If the board, Athletic board, wants to deal with him and say, you want to stay, we want you to stay, but what you want to do? If he wants to go, bye-bye.
When it comes to this player, though, he's in high demand, Jules. Could a PSG or an Arsenal say, we'll pay what Atleti want for him if he wants to go and hijack Barcelona's hopes?
I mean, I think the players' preference, which we've known for a few weeks now, is to go to Barcelona. That is if they can afford what Atletico might ask. If we go to the point that Frank was discussing, if Atletico say, okay, we understand you really want to leave, but it will be in our terms, so this is the price, and whoever can pay the price, if you're happy with that, then you can leave. Then I think if Barca can put that money on the table, and he prefers Barca, I think he will go there. Certainly right now, to me, it feels like Arsenal and PSG have more financial power than Barcelona, who somehow found some of that money. I'm not really sure where, but as we know, are still under quite strict financial restrictions, really, considering their losses and their budget and et cetera, et cetera. So I think Barcelona will be the number one on his list. But if that deal can't happen because of financial reasons, and Atleti were ready to open the door in their own terms, then I think that Arsenal and PSG will be there. But for now, it seems that the discussion between the Alvarez camp and a potential suitor and club is only with Barcelona.
If it does happen, that's quite a formidable force up front for Barcelona next season.
It would be best case scenario for Barcelona if it does happen. Now, let me just touch on Julián Alvarez and his preference for Barcelona. That's all fine and well. That you feel some sort of connection to Barcelona, that you feel that that's the best club for you, that you feel that that's perhaps where you're going to be able to win the titles that you're searching for. Let's assume that that's the case for Julián Alvarez, right? That hometown discount that you're going to have to take in order to go to Barcelona, because Barcelona may not be able to match what PSG and Arsenal may be able to put on the table. And this is all speculation, by the way, because if this is going to go the whole summer, this is all speculation right now in this second. But let's assume that Barcelona cannot put that money up. So how much is that love for Barcelona, really, if you're Julián Alvarez? Because if let's assume Arsenal or PSG, they come up with 20, 25, $30 million more on the table. Is that, I mean, you can buy my love for that, let me just tell you. And I mean, see, we're talking about this ideal world for Julián Alvarez. Yeah, I want to go to Barcelona, but then comes PSG and say, well, hey, 150 million. And Atletico Madrid, that's the one that they're going to go after, because obviously that's what makes more sense for them. So this love is all relative, is what I'm saying. It's all relative and really dependent upon what is the actual money that is being offered and being put on the table.
Why are you laughing?
You know exactly why I'm laughing. We all know Ali's price now.
What's the?
We all know Ali's
30 million.
If there was any doubt, if you wanted Ali's love, how much it would cost?
30 million.
Yep. to be fair, that'll be a lot of love. But to Ali's point, he's absolutely right. And kind of given, we were talking to Alice Kirkland a few months ago, and he mentioned that he thought, well, Barcelona's position wasn't as dire as it had been once upon a time. They're now back in the region of about 1 for 1 that they can spend. Now, Anthony Gordon at 80 is one thing. You expect that Julián Alvarez probably pushed to 120, 125. Now, you're asking Barcelona if it is indeed 1 to 1, 200 million. I mean, is that what's freed up with Lewandowski leaving? I don't understand it. And while PSG and Arsenal, certainly as of right now, have their focus elsewhere this weekend, maybe once these games go, you see that interest kind of ramp up, or maybe in response. But I would like to think from Arsenal mainly, because right now, and again, kind of looking at PSG and who they've been over the last couple of years, their attack is something to behold.
Well, a big part of the pot has already gone to Anthony Gordon, as was discussed yesterday, and he's familiarising himself with his new surroundings.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. There you go. Anthony
Hey,
Gordon
hey.
arriving in Barcelona
Hola.
to finalise his move.
Hola.
Hola.
¿Qué tal?